Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Masters of Marketing. In this episode, I have a very special guest, Ross Veitch. He's the co-founder and CEO of Wego. Wego is one of the world's largest travel companies. You can find it on wego.com. In this episode, we spoke a lot about brand marketing, direct marketing, how a company with the size of Wego splits its budget between brand and direct, how PR is relevant, how influencer marketing is used, and much, much more. Tune in and enjoy the episode. So Ross, welcome to Masters of Marketing.
Thanks, Bassam. Great to be here.
Yes. You know, actually, that we met in Cobone probably 15 years ago.
Wow.
Do you remember Cobone?
I remember Cobone fondly. In fact, I still good friends with Paul Kenny, and we got a couple things we're working on together at the moment.
So, oh, really?
Fondly remember my time with Cobone and helping incubate Treperna.
Right. Yes. Good. So, what's your elevator pitch?
So, for consumers, I would like to think, Wego is the one-stop shop, travel super app. You need to get all of your travel, research, searching, and booking done, particularly if you happen to live in the MENA region, which is where Wego focuses. For investors, we're fast-growing, we're profitable. We're the largest company in our space in the MENA region, and nicely profitable.
The largest in terms of revenues?
I think largest in terms of the number of people using us every month.
Interesting.
The app install base, 65 million people across the Middle East region have got the Wego app installed, who are trusting us with their travel shopping. Our friends at Sierra are a bigger company by far. They're publicly listed. It's all available. But I think between the two of us, we are the largest in the MENA region. Right.
And you co-founded Wego about, 12 years ago?
A bit longer than that. So 2005, we kicked off. So we're into our 18th year.
18.
So I always joke, Wego is our 2-decade-long overnight success story.
Makes sense.
There's more startups out there that sort of grow like that, or like that, as opposed to the rocket ships like that. It's the rocket ships that get the most media attention. There's a lot of companies out there who take it, slightly more medium pace.
Good. So the first question will be: how did you first start marketing Wego, and how do you do today? If you remember.
Yeah, sure. I'm old. I'm not Senna. So Wego, when we first started out, we're a pure meta search. So we're helping people compare prices, and you can think of it as a marketplace. You got sellers of travel products on one side, and you've got consumers on the other. And with any marketplace, you have a chicken and egg problem. Like you need enough people using the service for the sellers to be interested, and you need enough sellers for the marketplace to be interesting to the shoppers. And we originally got around this problem by partnering up with the big horizontal web portals of the day. So we sort of white labeled our sort of 1.0 product for Yahoo and for MSN. And a bunch of other large players. Various times we worked with eBay. I think we had something going with Maktub for a while. 9MSN down in Australia. We white labeled it into a whole bunch of tourism board websites, and that sort of gave us the volume to get the airlines and the hotel chains and all the other travel agencies interested in selling on our platform. So that was kind of marketing. It's sort of distribution. Partnerships, sort of what we referred to it as. In the early days, we did a lot of SEM. So mainly Google, bit of Bing, bit of Yahoo. Spent some time in some of the North Asian markets. So Naver in Korea, we played around with Baidu in China for a while. And then over the years, it's evolved. We've tried pretty much everything in digital marketing in some shape or form. We've run affiliate marketing at scale. We've run influencer marketing at scale. We've done performance TV. We've done good old-fashioned linear TV. We've done a lot of YouTube. Do a lot of app marketing across all the different channels. We've done preload partnerships with handset makers. We've done radio. We've done streaming audio. We do a lot of partnerships with tourism boards. Typically those are on a co-marketing basis, so that they bring X million dollars, we match it in cash and kind, and we go to market together to promote the destination, but drive the booking through Wego. We do good old-fashioned branding. We're strong believers in the building the brand. So we brought in as an equity partner NBC Group in 2017, and we ran a lot of TV ads across the NBC network. The satellite footprint hits the entire MENA region, so that went a long way to sort of building up the brand. Do a lot of SEO. So pretty much everything in the the digital marketing playbook, we have or we're currently practicing, and we've sort of married that with roughly equal amounts of spend in above the lines or sort of branding, non-performance types of activities. The mix varies from market to market, and it's varied over the course of the business. You obviously spend more in marketing when you're entering a market, when you're building a brand, than you do when you're maintaining it. But that's roughly the formula, and happy to do a deep dive into any of those areas that are of interest to you.
What would you say is the best marketing channel for Wego in terms of ROI? Because I know you spend a lot on branding, on brand marketing. So like a lot of the stuff, a lot of the marketing channels that you cannot put an ROI on. But what would you say is what makes the biggest impact for your business?
Yeah, so we spend different times 50-50, 60-40 performance to brand. The brand stuff, very hard to measure, but I do believe it's important. In the travel game, there's kind of like two types of travel companies. They kind of exist on a continuum. You got those who believe in building a brand and a long-term relationship with customers, and on the other end, you've got people who are kind of arbitrage machines. And there's some people somewhere in between. We're very much of the belief that building a brand, building a long-term relationship with users, and so we think spending on channels that allow us to tell a story about the brand, about the product, and to anchor it in users' minds is a good use of our marketing budget. It's not entirely blind. We measure everything we can. So we do at least quarterly brand awareness tracking, so aided, unaided, Wego versus the comp set. We try and look for correlations to see how it's changed based on when and where we've been spending. When we're doing a lot of TV, we measure the direct response. So visits to the website, app downloads, transactions, website activity, app activity. Sort of correlate it with when we're running spots, and the assumption there is the direct response is proportional to the brand uplift that you're also generating. And then we try and optimize the direct response. Most important channel for us, it's hard to say, it varies across markets and it varies across time. We spend reasonable amount of money across multiple Google channels, multiple Meta channels. We're also active on TikTok, on Twitter, on Snap, Apple search ads, on Bing. The offline channels we use vary according to the the seasonality. Yeah, but it's all part of a mix. So hard to say. It's a bit like children, right? You don't love any of them, more than the other. You love them all equally.
Yeah.
They work in concert.
Mm. You said you split between brand and performance, or direct, let's say. You split it between 50-50, 60-40. So usually you put more focus on what, brand or performance?
A bit more on the performance side.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not like they operate in isolation. So what we find is, the stronger the brand gets in a particular market, the more efficient our performance channels start working for us. Your quality score improves, your click-through rates improve, your conversion rates improve, how much you have to pay in the auction, decreases. They're closely interrelated. Right. It's common sense, right? You're more likely to click on an ad from a brand you've heard of, as opposed to somebody who you've never come across before.
Makes sense. Yeah. And it's interesting how you measure the brand marketing activities, because that's always very challenging, right? Because there are always seasonalities, there are always like holidays in between. But it's so do you use tools for that, or just looking at analytics and looking at the sources like direct and organic, and you just monitor this way manually, or you use tools for that?
So when we're running linear TV or satellite TV, we look, we get hold of the media plan, down to the minute, and then sort of correlate it with what we see in terms of the response, and then try to draw correlations. And then we optimize the the media plan to drive more of whatever metric we're trying to move. Increasingly, we're using online channels for video, to get across the the brand message. We've got a preference for sort of lean back mode when somebody's in front of the TV, as opposed to on a mobile or a tablet. That's obviously a lot more addressable, targetable, and then trackable. So we do what we can to then follow users, same device and cross device. And we've seen good results driving down our cost per install, or cost per transaction, or cost per new user. When we get all that working. We have a team that's just dedicated to marketing technology, whose job it is to sort of figure out how to stitch together all these platforms and make them work. I think we do a pretty good job of it. Doing your branding over digital channels, obviously opens up a lot of possibilities that weren't there when it was strictly strictly broadcast or satellite based.
Makes sense. And of course, you invest in influencer marketing. How do you go about it? Do you spend a lot of money on it? Do you hire like top tier? Do you work with micro, macro? How do you go about it?
Yeah, I mean, so we've been doing influencer marketing before it was called influencer marketing. So back in the days when it was just good old affiliate marketing. And a lot of people in the travel category have similarly. So we've worked with a range of influencers at sort of both ends of the spectrum. Often the campaigns of influencers that work best for us, not necessarily the largest, most flashiest influencers. Somebody who resonates with an audience of travelers, is sort of what we're always looking for, and somebody who can tell a good story about our product, why somebody might want to try it out. We work directly. We work with agencies. I don't think we've scaled it as far as some, but I think we've taken it a reasonable to a reasonable level. Typically, we're trying to drive new app installs through to first purchase. So we're looking for people who can talk about the product benefits. Ideally, we work with influencers on a performance basis, but we're often willing to try them on some other basis, and if it doesn't perform, we don't repeat it. So typically start small and scale it up. I've always thought there's a good opportunity for somebody to build a marketplace that marries travel brands with influencers specifically. There's some more general marketplaces out there. I think it's a good opportunity. So you want to do all the hard work we've done to stitch together all the tracking and the analytics to measure, conversions and bookings generated, or all the other intermediate metrics that somebody might want to optimize a campaign to, but then figure out how to screen and match influencers to particular travel brands. So either based on the audience or the audience language, maybe the destinations or the segments that they specialize in. It's something I'm kind of half tempted to have a crack at building internally, but I'd also be just happy if somebody else built it. So somebody in your audience should pick that up.
Yeah, up for grabs. I'm thinking like, hey, are you gonna build it? Why not? Do you have time to build it? Are you doing only Wego, or are you doing other things as well?
So yeah, Wego's my day job, and it keeps me very pretty busy. So within the Wego family, we got a few different businesses. So we originally started off with the the meta-search business. We've also got a media and advertising business. So we have a lot of, I think we're probably the biggest player in the MENA region now for airlines and hotel chains and other travel agencies. We built a travel booking product in our own right. It exists inside the same product. And then we're incubating a product called Shop Cash. This is something we built during COVID when all the travel stopped. So it's a sort of cashback shopping app, focused on the MENA region. So shopcash.com, or the app is also in the two big app stores. And then me personally, I also do a fair bit of angel investing on the side. Sit on a few boards, and just generally like working with other entrepreneurs who are kind of at the start of their journey. It's always it's quite infectious when people are first starting out, and if I can do nothing else but stop them from making some of the stupid mistakes I made in the early days, I will have done my job.
Yeah, nice. So you wouldn't have time to build another startup or another business?
I wouldn't say that. Particularly in this world of AI tools, the world's changed dramatically in the last 6 months, right? And what one person can do is now equivalent to what a team of 10 could do 6 months ago. It's a bit like the shift when we first started out at Wego, right? There was no cloud computing services to speak of, right? So if you wanted to launch a tech startup, you had to go and buy a whole bunch of servers from Dell or HP or IBM or somebody, and then you had to go and rack them somewhere at a hosting facility and sort of buy your bandwidth. So that all took a lot of capital and a lot of hassle, and that's before you wrote a line of code. So all of that's gone away, right? So now you just go to Amazon, Microsoft, or Google, spin up, give me a credit card, spin up a server, and you're off and running. So the same way that that's removed a lot of the sort of undifferentiated heavy lifting from software development. AI is going to remove a lot of the undifferentiated heavy lifting from lots of different aspects of spinning up a new business. So I think you're going to see a lot of one-man startups doing some pretty impressive things.
So you said that you invest about 50% of your marketing budget on brand marketing exercises, obviously because you see the benefit. Now, the challenge is that most business people, most small and medium-sized businesses don't see the benefit of branding or brand marketing. When you talk to CEOs or CFOs, they want to see a return on investment. So they like to invest in marketing channels that help them see that. So they go about investing in Google search ads or any other performance channel or affiliate marketing, for example. And they don't want to invest in creating amazing content on social media or doing any outdoor activities or engaging with influencer marketing, for example, because they don't see the value. They just want to put money and see an immediate return. And because you believe in branding and brand marketing, maybe it's good to hear it from your side. Why is it important for businesses?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't accept that brand marketing, can't be measured. It's just harder to measure than your more simple performance marketing channels. Sometimes you have to look at intermediary metrics to figure out whether you're on the right track or not.
Like what?
Sometimes, like your brand awareness, product consideration, tracking downstream activity from people who've seen your ads on YouTube, so try doing a split test. So go live in Dubai, go stay silent in Abu Dhabi, or hit one segment with your advertising, and then buy a similar segment and hit them with a charity ad or something, and then measure the results across an A/B test later. I mean, and as I was saying, with digital branding channels, all of this is increasingly measurable. The offline stuff, it's a little harder, but there's creative ways to do it. So you can pick two cities, put your billboards up in one, don't put them up in the other, and then a couple of months later look at the difference, right? So it's a good old-fashioned A/B test. But to your other question about why it's important, I think what we've just been through with COVID in the travel industry is a good, I think it's a good story. So basically, in March 2020, our revenue went to zero. Over the course of about 2 weeks, as every place got locked down, airports got closed, planes got grounded, and it stayed that way for about 6 months, and then it just slowly started to come back. Our business at Wego came back without us having to spend a cent in marketing. We got back to about 80-85% of our pre-COVID levels just on the strength of our brand, because we'd driven a lot of app installs pre-COVID, because all through COVID we kept our earned media going flat out. We kind of flipped the script a bit. So instead of trying to inspire people to travel, we're trying to help them figure out how to travel. Like, I don't know if you did any traveling during COVID, but it was a bit of a logistical nightmare. So we spent a lot of time helping people with that, but we kept the brand top of mind. So when people were able to travel again, they just came back to Wego naturally. And a lot of that's just because of everything we did, with the brand, leading up to it. A lot of other travel businesses that were sort of, arbitrage machines, pure performance, no brand, had to immediately go back and start spending money that they didn't have at the time. A lot of them are no longer with us, unfortunately. But I think, another way to answer the question is just think about how you select products in your own life across all different categories. You're unlikely to buy something from a company that you're completely unfamiliar with most of the time, particularly if it's a high value purchase. Yeah, I think it's almost self-evident that building up a brand that people know and trust, is an important part of any marketing strategy. It's also true for destinations. We work with a lot of tourism boards around the world trying to get people interested to travel. The first thing they need to do is just sort of get on the radar. So people need to be aware that the destination exists. Then you need to tell them enough about the destination so they have a couple attributes associated with it that are sort of aligned with what they might be looking for in a holiday. And you need to drive them to start actively considering it around the time when they might be planning, and then drive them to convert, right? So it's a funnel, and there's metrics all along the way. And the likes of YouGov and Nielsen run surveys where you can ask a panel of users day in, day out, week in, week out, enough questions to figure out whether you're moving the dial or not on any of these metrics. And we run campaigns with lots of different tourism boards to do exactly that. And it's the same if you're trying to get people to use your travel product, same if you're trying to get them to buy your laptop, same if you're trying to get them to buy your university degree, right?
Makes sense. And obviously, you see it on the conversion rate. When you have a good brand, or when you have a known brand that advertise or that puts money on brand marketing exercises, and I see it with the e-commerce platforms that we work with, the brands that are known, they get a conversion rate of 10, 15%, and the brands that are not known, they struggle with 1 or 2% if they're lucky. So you're right. It's all about that brand trust.
Yeah, and I think for higher value purchases, so if you're going to drop, a couple $1,000s on an electronic item, or you're going to take your family to Europe for 2 weeks, you're talking about a multi, maybe a 10,000 plus dirham, Saudi Real purchase, you're going to want to do it with a brand that you trust, right? So what a lot of e-commerce and online travel companies do is deliberately advertise in the real world. When I say real world, I mean, sort of, outdoor advertising on TV, on radio, and it sort of makes the brand a bit more tangible. And definitely seen that work well, with us and across other brands in the category and in the e-com category. So as opposed to just being a purely digital thing.
So if you have $100,000 now, would you put it on one billboard or would you put it on social media? If you have to decide between both, and these are the only two channels that you have.
Yeah, if I only had $100,000
for brand marketing,
probably some form of well-targeted social.
Yeah, good.
$100,000 doesn't buy you a lot of billboard these days, unfortunately.
No.
Plus the social's a lot more targetable, right? You can leverage it with what you can earn.
Right. Good. How important is PR for a business of the size of Wego?
Yeah, so PR is important for us, as is social media. So I kind of see them as related. So we sort of have a three-pronged PR strategy. First of all, we got a sort of a consumer focus where we're trying to keep the brand top of mind with people and associated with anything to do with travel, tourism, aviation, hospitality. I think on any given week, we're probably on air across Bloomberg, CNBC, one of the NBC channels, at least once or twice, if not 3 or 4 times. It kind of depends on what's in the news cycle. Our chief business officer, Mamoon, based in the Dubai office, he's kind of the go-to guy for anything happening in the travel, tourism, aviation sector. Yeah, a couple times a week at least. We see him popping up on one of the channels, newspapers and the online publications to pick us up fairly reliably as a source, again, for anything in travel, tourism, hospitality, aviation, sometimes tech, sometimes e-commerce. We try to be responsive when the media reach out, and we always have data and stats to hand. We try and keep it fact-based. Consumers love stories about what's trending for their particular origin market. So that's sort of an evergreen story we pump out regularly. Sorry. During COVID, like I said, we were trying to just help people figure out how to travel around the region. So kind of changed the strategy from trying to inspire people, just trying to help people. We still do a bit of both. We also have a sort of a trade-focused strategy where we're just trying to keep the trade informed about what we're up to, new partnerships we've signed, new markets we've entered, new product features we've launched, new opportunities to work with us. And it's very vibrant travel, hospitality press in the MENA region, and we got good relationships with all the publications, the editors and journos. And then we also do a bit targeting the investors who we're always trying to keep informed about what we're up to and our progress. And then whatever we're doing on the PR side, we try and echo with social media. So we put out a press release. We're probably going to put out an infographic that'll go through, out on Instagram or out onto to LinkedIn. So try and, even if this, the messaging isn't exactly identical, the broad thrust will be consistent across the different channels.
How do you grow your customer lifetime value?
Well, in general, you try to sell more to the same group of people, right? We do that specifically by trying to improve the product so that people want to come back and repeat purchase with us. So there's a large product and engineering design team at Wego, working furiously to add new features. We also spend a lot of time trying to re-engage users smartly with push marketing or email, trying to hit them at the right time with a message which is useful. Try to push them through the funnel. So if you were looking for flights to London with us last week, you're probably going to get a push message from us if you didn't transact. It's reminding you that what the best deal for those dates were, or maybe suggesting some alternate dates. And if you did book a ticket, probably going to be trying to help you find a hotel, assuming that you need accommodation for the same trip. And then if you book your hotel, we're probably going to help you, with insurance for the same trip, or maybe some things to do when you get there. And then around about the same time next year, leading up to it, we'll be suggesting that maybe you want to repeat that again, because people tend to travel, the same patterns year out. So there's a whole sort of marketing automation, like hundreds and hundreds of different micro campaigns that we run, targeting, divide people up into different levels of activity, and depending on what you were doing, where you got in the funnel, what we know about you from your historical shopping activities will determine what we reach out to you with. We use the same intelligence across our remarketing channels. So if you're on Wego today, you're probably going to find us following you on TikTok tomorrow, with some sort of campaign related to what you were doing on Wego. So we spent a lot of time trying to increase the lifetime value, and that's sort of like CAC to LTV is obviously a key metric for anybody in e-commerce, particularly for anybody who's playing the travel game with a sort of a mobile app focus, which we definitely are. About 80% of our bookings and our revenue comes through our mobile apps now. So I think we're probably one of the most app-focused travel companies around, or at least outside of China.
Right. And how do you decrease your churn rate?
Making sure people have a great experience once you do get them to the product. Making sure that if they run into trouble, that we offer them great customer service. Trying to make sure that we're reaching out to the right people in the first place. There's lots of easy ways to onboard tons of people, but unless you're reaching out to the right segment, they're going to churn pretty quick. So targeting, putting a lot of thought into who we're reaching out, the messages we're reaching out to them with. I mean, a lot of it's common sense, right?
Yeah. Okay. Do you invest in personal branding yourself?
That's a good question. Very little. I consume a fair bit of social media, particularly Twitter. I do not partake in, I don't generate a lot of content myself. I'm a little bit of a, I'm relatively private. And I'm kind of also of the view that, CEOs and, people running companies generally should probably stick to, the topic at hand, rather than straying too far from, what's driving shareholder value and, what's useful for the company. But it's kind of a being very privacy focused. It's becoming increasingly incompatible with actually running a company these days. So there's a bit of tension there, I'll admit it. But unfortunately, I've got good people who run our LinkedIn for us, and sort of take my my messages and sort of propagate them across the where they need to be.
All right.
It's interesting that we actually ended up doing this interview at all. I'm not quite sure. Did we reach out to you, or did you reach out to us?
I did.
You did? Okay. You got past the gatekeepers, so
Yeah.
congrats.
Through Nadine, I think.
Yeah.
No, actually, I sent you a message on LinkedIn, and you directed me to Nadine.
Okay.
I think
Yes, all right. Yeah, you're right.
Good. And
yeah, but look, personal branding, it would be smart to spend more time, more money on it. But yeah, it's not something I'm, traditionally I've done a lot of.
Right. Good. How and why do you split your marketing tasks between agencies, freelancers, and in-house staff?
Yeah, good question. So we got a heavy bias towards doing most marketing in-house. If you're an online travel company, if you're an e-commerce company, being able to do digital marketing at scale is kind of a core competence. It's potentially differentiating if you do it really well, but it's absolutely got to be a core competence. So I think it has to be in-house. So we got very strong data science teams internally. We got marketing tech team internally. We got performance marketing team internally. We have a sort of branding, social PR team internally. We do work with creative agencies, particularly around brand campaigns. So, producing TVCs internally is not something we're going to be doing anytime soon, I don't think. But currently, M&C out of Dubai doing good work for us. PR we manage in-house, SEO we manage in-house, SEM's in-house, performance displays in-house, influencers are in-house. We do our media buying in-house for the offline stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so most of it's in-house. We got a creative team in-house who we got a creative director in Dubai. He's got an extended team around the region who are able to crank out excellent work, multiple formats, multiple languages extremely quickly. So that that works. We do social media in-house. I think that one's important. So heavy bias towards in-house person. I'm always happy to talk to agencies. We learn a lot from talking, and we work with a lot of agencies on the buy side who are buying our media or repping airlines or destinations, tourism boards that we're partnering with. But for our own purposes, we tend to handle it ourselves.
Right. Good stuff. We're running out of time.
Okay.
How big is Wego in revenues and number of employees?
So we don't publish the revenue stats, but we have 260 employees last time I counted.
How many?
260.
Okay.
So we're in Dubai, we're in Cairo, we're in Lahore, we're in Bangalore, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore. And then we've got, some, all those places we have offices. We got people in Riyadh, Vietnam, Indonesia, Lebanon, Germany. And I think last time we did an inventory, I think it was 30 different nationalities, about 25 different languages spoken across the team. So I suspect we're one of the more multicultural outfits operating in the travel game globally.
Right. And how many of them are marketing and branding, and how many of the 260?
I think it's probably about 10%. So yeah, probably 25 in total.
Got it. Okay.
Sort of depends a little bit where you draw the lines, but if you factor in the creative team and the marketing tech team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
one last thing to leave the listeners with.
So summer's not over yet. It's not too late to get away. So I highly recommend, grab the Wego app, jump on Wego.com. You'll still find some decent bargains, whether you want to get out of the region or whether you're looking for a staycation. I was in Dubai last week. Hotel prices are, you've got some incredible bargains at the moment. So if you want to, give the family a treat without having to leave the country, now's a great time to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I
All
agree.
Right, cool.
The ticket prices are quite crazy. I just booked to Europe now and to Lebanon. The prices are quite high, but I agree the hotels here for staycation is just a bargain now.
Yeah, so look, if you want to get away for the rest of the year, I advise you to jump in and book now. Unfortunately, I don't think prices are gonna get any cheaper.
No.
So some capacity from some of the airlines still to come back online, but most of it's back now, and just because of demand and fuel prices where they are,
Makes
tickets
sense.
are going to remain
good
high,
for them. It's about time they recover.
Well, yeah.
Good stuff. All right, my man. Good
All right,
talking to you, and we'll speak soon
Likewise.
again. All right.
All right, man. Bye.
See ya. Ciao. Thanks.